Welcome to the next project. Today is build day of the Harley Benton SC guitar kit. Today is going to be a fairly fast-paced video, yet still a little bit long, showing the assembly of this guitar. If you do happen to pick up one of these kits, you should have no problems putting it together, as everything fits together very well. It's well designed and well manufactured. There are a few things you may need to pay attention to. On my particular kit, the fret ends were very sharp. They were tearing up my hands before I could even get the kit together. I needed to round the fret ends, and while I was at it I went ahead, leveled, crowned, and polished the frets as well. Another thing that needed to be addressed was the bridge. Two of the bridge screws were not holding the saddles in place. And in fact, it's a small retainer spring that just needs a little bit of bending to work properly. Other than that, you really just need a good set of strings for when you're done with the guitar. The strings that come with the kit are probably cheaper than you can buy anywhere. You need to buy a cheap guitar kit to get this cheap of strings. Let's start this project. To kick off the assembly of this project, I do a test fitting of the neck to the body. I put in a couple of screws through the mounting plate, tighten everything up so the neck stays where it is going to be. I drop the bridge on temporarily. As you can see, the posts are already pressed into the body. And then I run a medium weight cord through the high E and low E tuner holes, tuner mounting holes. Place the cord in the high E, low E slots of the nut, and then the corresponding saddles in the bridge, and I can verify that the strings will have proper inset on the neck and that the neck is in line with the bridge. And things are running where they should be. And here I'm double checking the scale length. The manufacturer has it listed as 628 millimeters. I came up with 627.5. And moving on to double check the spacing on all the frets, took the 628 millimeter scale length to the StewMac fret calculator, output the results and double checked everything, and everything's right on the money, so that's a good thing. I changed my assembly plan a little bit based on the fact that the fret ends were so sharp, and I was actually cutting myself up just moving parts around. I decided to take my little fret file, it's a fret end file, and just round the frets over a bit. And again, a little bit out of sequence with how I would probably normally build this guitar. Here I'm installing the tuners. And then I changed my mind again and decide to do more work on the frets. So since I did work on the frets, I probably should have waited to install the tuners until after that. It doesn't really matter, but there's really no reason to have the tuners installed yet. And here to protect the fingerboard, I'm using some painter's tape. This is actually what's considered outdoor painter's tape. It's a little more plasticky. It doesn't feel like a standard masking tape. It doesn't feel like paper. It has definitely a plastic feel to it, which works really well for the way I prep frets. Here I used a magic marker, and my sanding beam, I was using 320 grit paper here. Gave it a few times over, hit it again with a magic marker, and then pretty much went to town and got everything in very good shape. I don't have a new diamond file or anything fancy like that. I still have an old concave fret file, which works very well. It is a little harsh. You have to be careful with it because you can tear the heck out of the frets, but I've used it so many times I've developed a touch for it. The frets are already looking very shiny, even though if you looked up close, they'd be pretty rough. Now moving on to quick sanding. I used, I think, 4 different grits of paper, and my hand doesn't actually move that fast. In fact, I've got the tape sped up so fast it looks like I'm barely moving now.
Now with all the frets sanded to where I like them, I'm using Mother's Mag Polish. This is from my days working on cars and polishing aluminum rims. I've actually gone through a couple tubs of this just polishing frets, and a little bit goes a long way. I put down a towel because using a Dremel style buffer like this, it does sling some compound. So you don't want to wear a nice shirt because you'll have little black specks all over it. But I just dab my finger in the mag polish, smear it on the frets, and then use the, I believe it's a hard cotton wheel on the Dremel to polish. And it really does bring out the shine. It makes them like little mirrors. And I just keep going with the process. And I go back and double check, make sure the ends are all good, and touch up any places I feel need more attention. I've been using this process for a number of years now, and it just works really well for me. I don't use steel wool. I stick with wet dry sandpaper, various grades, and I use the tools and the materials I have on hand, and I've had just really great results.
Time to test the wiring and make sure we can get all of our connections lined up the way they need to be. I've already gone through this once, so I know how things need to go, and it should be reasonably intuitive. On the pickups, on this particular kit, the bridge has a black lead coming out of it, and the neck has a white coated lead. The white should go to white. And black should go to black. Guitar cable plugged into a little cigar box amp. So we've got our pickups wired to our volume pots. Now we have the switch, and every lead is red and black, and every lead on the end of the wire chase from the pots up is red and black. So how do you know? You have to kind of plug it in and test it. You may have one position that works, another position may not work, or two positions may not work. It could go either way. So I had to play with it. I had to switch these around a couple of times to get it where I need it to be. I'll just randomly plug these in just to show you what's going on. Alright, we're in the center position. That works, good. Let's flip it this way. Neither of them work. The other way. Only one of them works. I have to switch a few things around. Okay, now the bridge, that works. Now center, both work. Now they should both work, but they don't. Well, actually this one should work, but neither of them work. So this is wrong again. I will wire it the way I found it works. I've actually marked them, so when I put it in the guitar, I will know that it goes a certain way. I've also marked the switch. Right now it should be on bridge. Should have nothing here. Center position, they both should work. And if we turn the volume off on one, it should kill both. And neck. So everything works the way it should. Determine how you're going to plug your pickups into your wiring harness. I want white to white, black to black. Seems intuitive. Then figure out these three wires. Keep switching them around until you get things to work. Do it on the bench before you put the guitar together. It's a lot easier. And then mark them so you know. Do it here instead of in the guitar body.
Now with the electrical sorted out, I wrap a piece of tape around the end of the three wires. It makes it easy to push through the wire chase in the body. With everything marked, I can easily plug in the switch, get it in place, then start pushing the pots through and installing the finish washer and the nut. and putting the mounting plate on the output jack and installing it with the supplied screws. And now for the pickups. Again, since I know white goes to white and black goes to black, it's really easy to take care of at this point. And I put the ground wire in, press the posts in place, tuck all the wires into the cavities, put the cavity covers on, and snug all the screws. Wrapping up the body assembly, and that sets the stage for the next repair I have to make. As I prepare to get the body and the neck put together, I have to address the problem I mentioned with the bridge. And what I had to do, the E and A saddles, the retainer screw for those was loose, and it's based on the retainer spring. The little ends of it are kind of bent down, and you just need to twist those up a little bit to put more tension so it holds the screw in place. Once that's done, you can start putting it together. Everybody strings up their guitar differently, so I'm not going to bother you with how I do it. And this is really just temporary anyway. It's just to get the intonation set up, make sure the guitar functions properly, and this guitar is actually going to come apart again. When all the strings would be on, I would typically check the string height at the nut, make any adjustments to the nut slots I would need, then check the neck for relief, make an adjustment to the truss rod, and then move on to the bridge and get my string height set at the bridge end, and then go for intonation. I kind of skipped a couple of those steps in that process as this guitar is coming apart. I have the string height set where I want it. It is a little high at the nut though at this point, but it's good enough for the assembly at this point. I think I mentioned these are really cheap strings. So I had to dig into a new set of strings, pull the high E out, sacrifice it for this. It'll get pulled off and reinstalled later. And just to recap, this is actually a pretty good paint grade quality kit. The body has some rough spots here and there. Nothing sanding and some paint won't take care of. In general, the fit is very good. They did a great job making the neck and the body. As you can see, the neck plate doesn't really fit the shape of the body, but that's okay.
To wrap up this video, this particular guitar is going to be the base for an extreme mod project that's coming up next. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in modding guitars. It's not something you need to do, but it's something you can do. This guitar is going to get new headstock shape. It'll go from a bolt-on neck to a set neck. The body will get hollowed out, a new back cap put on, a veneer put on the face, possibly a new fingerboard and frets. What else? New pickups, either P90s or Filtertron style, possibly new control layout. Getting away from the LP style 4-knob to maybe a 3-knob setup, maybe a Gretsch style setup. I'm not really sure yet. So anyway, stay tuned for that. That project should be starting very soon. And also while you're at it, please go ahead, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment please. I'd like to hear what you think about this kit. And if you do pick up one of these guitar kits, I hope you have a great experience. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you tune in again to see the modification project coming up soon. Take care. Actually, this is what we're going to come up with. Let's start the kit. Let's start the build. Let's start the project. Let's start the next project.